Good afternoon, guys. How's everyone doing this Tuesday afternoon? Hope everyone's doing well. Hope you're all in the best of health. Hope you're in the best of health. Hope you're being the best version of yourself you could possibly be. So yeah, hope everyone's having a good day. Hope you all had a good weekend. I know it's Tuesday, but I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about the crash which I had on Saturday afternoon at Hillcrest motocross track. First of all, I want to pick up my body armour, which I didn't check until probably Sunday, maybe Monday, of the damage, what it did. And this is the damage, what it did. It's 4 body armour, so it's very expensive. It's carbon. If you look at the back of it, cracked. So that's where the back wheel landed. The foot peg went straight through there. As you can see, it's cracked in half, and you can see the marks where the bike landed on me. After checking my crash helmet just now, I've just noticed an airline crack right way down the back of the crash helmet. I'll tell you something now, I'm so lucky that I had on that body armour and all the and my crash helmet and all the protections, because without that crack in the bottom of there is where the foot peg of my bike, because the foot pegs on a motocross bike have got to be really spiked up. They're metal obviously, and they've got to be spiked up for your motocross boots to dig into. So yeah, that hole in the back of the body armour is where the foot peg dug into the back of the body armour. So without that, you can imagine it. I certainly wouldn't be here today talking to you about this accident. I'd actually be in a wheelchair. So this is what happened. Now, I've been on this same track loads of times, and I've done this same jump loads of times. Sorry guys. I went out there on Saturday afternoon with the wrong mindset. I had the I had the zig, and you should never ride like that, because you know this sport is a very dangerous sport. Professional motocross riders lose their lives every other weekend, so amateurs do, you know, we have offs all the time. So this is what happened. I've done the jump, bearing in mind I've done this jump so many other times, but as I said, I had the wrong mindset. So I've done this jump with the wrong mindset. It's a double jump, by the way, and it ain't a little jump, it's quite a big jump. I'm not too sure what happened. All I can say is I remember going up high, and I remember the bike flipping over. It threw me like a rag doll onto the side of the track, and I thought, that's all right, that ain't too bad, that's a little off. You know, we have offs all the time. It's part of the sport, it's motocross, we have offs all the time. But then what happened was, it felt like around 5 seconds later, but it couldn't have been. It must have been 1 or 2 seconds later. All of a sudden, bang, the bike come crashing down on the back of my head, on my back, down my neck. I was knocked unconscious for probably around 10, 15, maybe 20 seconds. A few pit bike riders quickly noticed me on the floor, quickly noticed the bike was still on top of me. He stopped one of the riders, 2 of the riders actually. They stopped, they pulled the bike off of me, pulled me back onto my feet and said to me, am I okay? I said, I'm not too sure what just happened. And as I went to get back on my feet, my legs just come away from me. So yeah, I was definitely knocked out. Big shout out to them pit riders. They was the ones, you know, what mattered. He helped me off the track, wheeled my bike back to the truck. And I don't know how this happened, but with my adrenaline still pumping, I managed to get back on the bike and do another lap. After the accident, I'd done another lap, and it didn't feel right. Something didn't feel right in my body. And it certainly didn't feel right in my mind to carry on the day on my bike, because it's a dangerous sport. So I loaded up and come home. I had a bath. When I got out of the bath, I felt very delirious. I had a pumping headache, the room was spinning. My family quickly rang an ambulance. I got blue lighted up to the hospital, all stretchered up. and got put into resus for a while. They'd run all their tests, and I had severe concussion, severe whiplash, the outcome of the accident. I'm a little bit annoyed with myself because I know, you know, more than anyone should know, that you should not ride a motocross bike with the wrong mindset. If you've got the you've had a row or something ain't right, you know, you're in a temper, you're not in the right mindset, you certainly shouldn't be riding a motocross bike on a track. As I said, so many times I've actually done this same jump, but I just don't know what happened. I really don't know what happened. Sometimes these little jumps, yeah, you get so confident with doing them because they're only a small jump. Sometimes they're worse than the bigger jumps, because as I said, where they're only a small jump, you don't give them much thought process and you just fly over them, pin the bike and fly over them. And that's what happened with this time here. I was too confident, didn't, you know, think about the jump really, just hit it flat out, because as I said, I had the wrong mindset. So I hit it flat out, and the bike, where it's so powerful, it's a 450, it just went boom, straight over. That is what I think happened. Now, I might be wrong. I could be wrong because, as I said, I was completely and utterly knocked out. I don't know if any of my YouTube followers have actually been knocked out, but it's a very scary thing, because when you go to get back on your feet, your legs are like jelly, and I just fell back. Obviously, all my family are very concerned about me. They're all worried about me. They say you should hang your gloves up or hang your boots up. But it's easier said than done. When you've loved a sport all of your life and you get an adrenaline rush out of that sport, it's very hard to do that. So unfortunately, I won't be hanging my boots up. I'll be taking a few weeks off. I'll be getting all new body protections. Like you should have new stuff if you're going to get a bike. It's not cheap neither. That's what I'm saying. People think just getting a motocross bike, you can go on a track and that is it. It's not as easy as that. You need all the protections what come with it. So I'm going to have a few weeks off, get all the motocross gear again, because as I said, my body armour done the job. Look at that hole, man, look. If that wasn't for my body armour, that hole would have been in my back. And if you can see the marks on the body armour, that's where the back wheel landed. And the bike come on top of me. On close inspection, of my crash helmet, it's a Wolf Sport crash helmet. On close inspection of it, I just noticed that there's a hairline crack right the way down the back of it. So you can imagine if I didn't have that crash helmet on with that hairline crack, that would have been my neck, my back and the back of my head. I doubt if I would have survived that accident. And as I said, it's only a small jump. It's them small jumps are the ones that catch you out, because with the big jumps, you know what you're up against with them big jumps. You've got to be on the ball to do them big jumps. So you give them a lot of thought process. It's a bit like, I don't know, this sport is a bit like bare knuckle boxing, BKB, you know, MMA. It's like that. It's an addictive sport. And that is how, you know, that's how I get my rocks off. That is what makes me tick. That's what gets my adrenaline going. So yeah, I can't wait to get back out again. But anyway, today I've got a pumping headache. I've had a pumping headache for a few days. As I said to you, I did get severe concussion on this injury. I've had many offs on motocross bikes. It's all part of the sport. But this one was a little bit different because it keeps going round and round in my head. How did it happen? I don't really know how it happened because I was knocked out. I don't really know whether the bike flipped over or I landed the jump, landed on my front wheel, it sent me over the handlebars. All I know is I was on the floor and bang, the bike come crashing down on me. So that's what happened. But yeah, it was at Hillcrest Motocross track. He's a nice old boy, Mick, what owns the track. But, you know, and it's at your own risk. All these things are at your own risk, you know. all my family and other people, friends, and have been saying to me, you know, you should stop because it's a dangerous sport. What sport isn't dangerous? You know, kicking a ball is dangerous. You could break your leg kicking a ball. What sport ain't that? They're all dangerous, all of them. You could be swimming and you could have a stroke or you could have a heart attack in the pool. God forbid that ever happens, but that could happen. It's a possibility that could happen. So yeah, I won't be hanging my boots up and I won't be stopping riding. But what I will be doing is, as I said, getting all new protections and making sure that I've got all that gear. Anyway, guys, I'm going to get this one uploaded and I'll be back at you in a bit. I've got a bit of an headache. Have a good day, everyone. Peace.